Alright, so the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC releases next week into GTA Online, and one of the most important things that you guys have to have for this update is money. So today we're going to be breaking down how much money I think you're going to need for this DLC. So we're going to be looking at all the vehicles, as well as the possible properties and changes that Rockstar is going to be adding, and we're going to be having a final estimate at the end of how much money you're going to need in total, and also breaking down things you may want to buy. So before we get into it, if you want to see more content covering the San Andreas Mercenaries DLC, then make sure to subscribe and upload post notifications for you never miss an upload. And if you enjoyed this or found this helpful, then make sure to drop a like. So let's start off with properties. Rockstar hasn't announced or confirmed any properties or businesses that they're going to be adding. However, we do know that the hangar as well as the Avenger is going to be very useful in this update. We know this update is going to be a bit of like a Smuggler's Run 2.0. So obviously if you do have the hangar, this is going to be something that can help you out a lot. And hangars honestly aren't really that expensive, especially this week with it being at a 20% discount. And when it comes to locations, there is of course, hangars that you could buy at the airport as well as the military base. Overall, I would say the military base is the better location since now you can access it without having to deal with any police. And it's just overall better when it comes to sales as well. But if you are a new player or you don't have that much money before this update, then I would probably recommend just getting one in the airport and just not really focusing on the upgrades that much for now. But again, when it comes to this update, it does seem like the hangar is going to be really needed since the Avenger seems like it's going to be the place that has most of the upgrades, which is something that I definitely would recommend to buy. But again, however, the hangar might be useful, but we'll really have to see on day one how it's really going to play out in this update. But something that again you will need is the Avenger. Now, currently you do need to actually own a facility to get the Avenger because you need a place to store it. But with this upcoming update, Rockstar is going to make it so that you don't have to own a hangar or facility in order to have the Avenger. But now there also is going to be the option if you do want to place the Avenger in the hangar if you do have one. So the Avenger is something that a lot of people definitely will be buying there in this update because it's going to be where all the features are really added, or at least for this update, because we know from the screenshots as well as the trailer that there's going to be a new screen that's located in the Avenger where we're probably going to start the missions. There's upgrades as well that have been added on the exterior and the interior, such as missiles, as well as the ability to now store your jetpack in the Avenger. So this is a vehicle that I would recommend a lot of people buy, especially when this update comes out if you don't already have it. And the current price of the Avenger is $3,450,000. And then when it comes to the upgrades that you can add onto it, it does increase to about $5 million. But then now with the new upgrades that are coming out in this update, it's probably going to increase even more to probably like around 6 to 7 million. So I would say if you don't have an Avenger, then you're probably going to need at least like 6 to 7 million to fully get it upgraded with the new features. But if you already have one, then obviously you're just gonna have to spend a couple million more, maybe like 2 to 3 million just to get, the max new upgrades and stuff like that. So just know that's the price that you're probably gonna need when it comes to like the property kind of business vehicle side of this update. Next up, we got weapons. So far we know that we're going to be getting at least one new weapon, and that's the tactical SMG. And Rockstar hasn't really revealed that much information about it, but for new weapons, the price range is usually around like $300,000 to like maybe $500,000, and that is with the upgrades as well if we do choose to add them, such as like different colors or like scope upgrade or something like that. Just little things that you could add, weapon modifications. So just know that's going to be the amount of money that you're going to need for new weapons. However, Rockstar could be adding more than just one weapon in this update. So just know maybe you're going to need a total of $800,000 if you do want to buy, weapons, if Rockstar does add another one. However, for some weapons that Rockstar do add to updates, they are free. Usually you just have to complete a task where you got to search somewhere or like do a treasure hunt. You'll just be able to get the weapon for free, but we'll see on release date when it does come out. Next up, we got one of the most important topics as well, which is vehicles. So I did talk about in a previous video about all the new vehicles that are releasing, and now we're going to be talking about the possible prices of each of them. So let's start off with the new jet, which is the F-160 Raju. This vehicle, of course, is going to be expensive because first off, you look at the other jets and airplanes that we have, most of them are around like $3 to $5 million, with the laser being almost $7 million. And we know this vehicle is going to be having, the stealth mode, the VTOL, as well as missiles, cannons, and stuff like that. So I think that Rockstar is probably going to price it at around like $6 to $7 million. It's not going to be cheap. So if you do plan on buying this, make sure to have money prepared and ready for it. And after that, we got another vehicle, which is going to be the weaponized Canada. That vehicle, if it's just an upgrade, then it's just probably going to be around like $2 million. But if it comes to like buying a whole new, helicopter, it's going to be around like 3 to like 4 million. Rockstar is not going to make this cheap at all. But I could see it maybe being around like 2.5 million to like $4 million, I would say for sure, for the weaponized Canada. And then we also have another plane that is arriving, and this one seems to be pretty basic, so I don't expect it to be too crazy, but I expect it to probably be around like like $1.5 million. And then getting into land vehicles, first off, we have this muscle vehicle that we saw in one of the first newswires that Rockstar released. And this one is probably going to be priced around like $2 million, but Rockstar also is going to be having the ability to add a money tech to it. And if you do want to, the price is probably going to go up to like around $3 to like $3.5 million, but overall the base price should be around like $2 million. And then after that, we have this new garage vehicle that was just revealed yesterday that was in the Vinewood garage, and this one most likely, just like the last one, is going to be placed around like $2 million, but could go up to around like $3 million. After that, we have some of the other vehicles that Rockstar revealed, which is like the trophy truck. This one probably is going to be pretty cheap, maybe around like $500,000 to like $700,000. Usually these vehicles aren't that pricey. The one that we currently have is only $550,000, so I expect it to be around in that range as well. And then we also have a Verado racing car. This was kind of similar to the Hot Ring Everon that was added in the last update. And the Everon was about $1.5 million, so I expect it to kind of be similar for this one. So I'll say like $1.5 million when it comes to this new Hot Ring vehicle that we're going to be having. And then lastly, we have the SUV, and this one is probably going to be priced around $1.5 million as well. And it's based off some of the previous SUVs that Rockstar's added in these last updates, so just though it's not going to be too crazy with the price. Now, all these vehicles may not release on day one, and usually on day one, Rockstar adds around like 5 to like 6 vehicles. So for day one, you're probably going to need around like $15 million when it comes to purchasing all the vehicles. Of course, there is going to be drift fed vehicles as well, and those are not going to be really added to the calculations, since you can just make money every week from like Kyle or other missions. But just know for day one though, if you don't want to buy all the vehicles, you're probably going to need around like $15 million. And then customization wise, if you do want to customize all those vehicles as well, then you're going to need an additional around $3 million. And if you of course want to include money tech on some of these vehicles, if they have the ability for it, it's going to be a little bit more than that. So day one, probably around like $18 million if you want to buy all the vehicles as well as customize it. So just know that's going to be the amount of money that you definitely will need. And keep in mind though, you don't have to buy all these vehicles on day one. If you want a little estimate on how much you're going to need for drift fed, just know that you need at least like $2 million a week for every vehicle that is added. Now lastly, of course, we do have some clothing as well as just miscellaneous stuff. So Rockstar does usually add a bunch of like clothing and all their accessories and all that. So I would say you probably need around like $2 million if you want to buy all that, if you're interested in that, of course. And that also includes new tattoos as well as new hairstyles that they may add. So to break down the amount of money that you will need on day one, that includes the Avenger upgrade as well as new weapons, vehicles, clothing, as well as miscellaneous stuff. Then the total is going to be around like $25 million. So if you have it on day one, you should be set to buy everything. That includes customizing vehicles as well. So I would say if you do want to fully experience this update on day one, $25 million should be enough. So it's actually definitely not that bad for sure. Some updates do go even more crazier where they're like 30 to like 40 million on day one. But this is honestly a really good start, and this is something that's definitely possible to be made, within just a few weeks of grinding. So if you don't end up having all the money on day one, you can definitely still enjoy the update, a few days after or even a week after. And the best way for sure to grind, money for updates is Kai Perico. Even though it's been nerfed in these past 2 updates, it's still the best way to go for it. The bonuses that are happening this week aren't really the best, and honestly, there's not really that many other things that pay that well compared to Kai Perico. So I would say stick to that and just keep grinding it back to back in order to make the amount of money that you want. And then another big way to get some extra money is that if you bought some vehicles from previous updates that you just don't like anymore or don't want, then definitely go ahead and just sell them and just get rid of them and get that money back, so you can obviously stack up and just not keep wasting money on things you don't even like. So overall, that is how much you're going to need for this update, $25 million on day one. Again, the update is releasing on Tuesday, June 13th, and we're going to be covering a lot of content regarding it. So if you guys want to see more, then make sure to subscribe and put on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Also, if you did enjoy this or found it helpful, drop a like, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.